This is the most terrifying thing I've ever experienced. I was 18 years old when it happened, and I still have nightmares about it. It's weird because I don't remember much from that day, but I remember everything from that night. The entire incident only lasted around 10 minutes, but it felt like an eternity to me. It left me with long-term psychological damage. I feel so unlucky to have survived. It was a Saturday morning. My family and I had just finished watching a movie. I think it was some random action film. We always watched these together. It was our tradition, and we started getting ready for bed. We didn't talk much after the movies. We were kind of tired. My sister went to her room first, then my parents'. I brushed my teeth and washed my face, and then went to my room. I turned off the lights and got into bed. I couldn't fall asleep no matter how hard I tried. Maybe it was all the action in the movie. My mind was racing, and finally my eyes started getting droopy. I remember thinking to myself, it's 2:33 a.m. My family will be up soon. I grew up with two loving parents who gave me a lot of affection. And although my relationship with my sister was complicated, I knew she loved me deep down. The next thing I knew, I was being pulled out of bed by my hair. I started screaming. The last thing I remember is my mom running into my room. That's when the fire started. I was coughing and choking on smoke. I could barely breathe. I ran into the living room where my sister was sleeping on the couch. I don't know if she was over there because she was avoiding our parents, or if they told her to go there because she had asthma. She was fine there, it was just smoke. But I had to get to our parents. I ran to my dad's office, but he wasn't there. Then I checked our bedroom. I screamed at the top of my lungs. Mom, Dad, I don't know what happened. I saw a fire extinguisher right there, so I grabbed it and sprayed it everywhere in the room. There was no fire.
They weren't there.
Felt a little better after spraying the fire extinguisher everywhere, but I still couldn't breathe. I don't know where I went after that. I looked outside and thought maybe I should jump out the window. I was on the second floor. I knew I would be okay. I was just trying to get to my mom and dad. Why aren't they coming? I could hear them. I heard them in another part of the house. I called out to them, but their voices were distorted, and they weren't responding. I was crawling on all fours at this point, looking for a way out. I found the front door, but it was locked. The doorknob was too hot to touch. I tried the other door, but that was locked too. It was at this moment I realized I was completely alone. No one else was in the house. I don't know what happened. Did everyone leave me? Where are they? Are they dead? Was I dead? Why can't I breathe? The next thing I knew, I was lying on the ground outside the house, surrounded by police cars and ambulances. I was on a stretcher. One of the paramedics asked me, "What's your name?" I said, "My name's not important right now. Where are my parents? Where's my sister?" The paramedic looked at me and said, "Listen, I'm going to ask you again. What's your name? You're the only survivor. Your family is gone." What? How? How could this happen? Why did they leave me? They took me to the hospital and put me in a room. I remember throwing up. I remember staring at the ceiling and crying for hours. At one point, a doctor came into my room and sat down next to me. He told me my body had very high levels of carbon monoxide poisoning. If I had inhaled more, I would have died. I also had some burns on my feet, which is why I remember touching the hot doorknob. I had second-degree burns. After I stopped crying, I started asking questions. I asked the doctor what happened to my family. The doctor told me they died from carbon monoxide poisoning. Apparently, there was a malfunction with our water heater, and it released carbon monoxide into the house. I was the only one who managed to escape. I was the only one who woke up. I stayed in the hospital for a couple days, but I was traumatized. I couldn't sleep. All I kept thinking about was how my family died, how they suffered. They probably suffocated. They probably burned to death. Were they in pain? I'll never know the answers to these questions. I ended up going back home after only 3 days, because there was no one else to take care of the house. No one wanted to stay there. It was a disaster. The whole place smelled like smoke. The walls and furniture were black. I had to stay there because I was the only survivor. I had no one else to live with. A few weeks later, someone told me that my parents had life insurance. I'm not sure if they knew I was listening, but they said something that really hurt me. That kid is doomed. Having a traumatic event like that at such a young age is going to ruin him. Do you think that kid has any idea what he's going to be like as a person? Do you think he knows how screwed up he is? I bet he has nightmares about that house every single night. I was listening. I knew they weren't talking about me. They thought I was gone. I knew they didn't mean it in a good way, but they were wrong. It's been 16 years since the incident, and I still have nightmares about that house. I can smell the smoke and burning wood to this day. I can hear my dog barking in the distance. I can see my mom holding me when I was a baby. Sometimes I wonder if they're proud of me. Sometimes I wonder if they even think about me. I have no one else left. I hope they're watching over me. I love you, Mom and Dad. Rest in peace.